You said that men need to just be honest, right? How many men could walk around and tell most women, I just want to do this, even though I have someone else, and they'll be okay with it?
We don't know. They haven't done it.
Right.
Yes, they do. There's
No, they
plenty of men
don't.
right now that tell other women, I have a wife, or I have a girl, or I have whatever. And women are not okay with it, and they've never been okay with it.
Only
For the
There
most
because
are
part.
some who are. There
we
is a
talking
There's
about
whole
a
the
side
wife
lot.
or
chick
the
culture.
girlfriend. Why you not going to
We
the wife
talking
or the
Nah,
about the
girlfriend and say,
Right.
yo, I want
Right.
to just do a
we
little
talking
what I
about the
razzle
say.
dazzle?
majority.
I think she's talking
No,
the
you
other way
have to go to
around.
the
You're
wife
talking the
first.
other way around. You talking about telling the side chick about your wife
Yeah,
when
you
you
can't
should
do
be
that.
telling your wife
Yo, if I
that I
tell
Right.
want a
my wife,
side chick, and it's up to
yo,
her.
Right. And
if
then
I
y'all
tell my
have
wife
to
I want a
go,
side
hold
piece,
on.
she's probably gonna
And
say
then,
no.
hold on, brother. Y'all
Okay,
have
okay,
to
It's
go, right? You have to go and speak to your wife first. And then y'all have to go on
Not
the
this
date.
wife though, not me.
Right. But you have to go on a date with the girl to see if she's comfortable enough to allow you to have your shindig with her. But men don't do that. They
yeah, you
cheat
got
and
to
then
deal
they
with the
get caught,
consequences.
and then it's a whole big thing.
This should be
And
a
then they want to
conversation
fake and
in the
act like they
dating
want to be
pool.
Abraham and them. And not,
So
and not.
I think it's like a whole indulging in not having discipline. Like no discipline, then indulging
Right.
in that. That's
Mhm.
pretty much what it is to
What's
me.
that? D
Because half the
discipline?
time, if you're like, it was a monetary thing as well as solidifying your legacy and all that other stuff. And half the time, a lot of these guys that be talking, I want a polygamous relationship, they're broke. And
Yep.
so, if you can't even afford
Nick
one wife,
broke.
you shouldn't even be taking on another
They
wife.
just want to clap other
Because in
cheeks.
the
Nick,
That's it.
Quran
Nick,
it
Nick from
says
Sister Wives is broke. He
right,
has
but in the
declared he's
Quran
broke.
it says that in order for a man to have multiple wives, everybody has to have everything equally.
Equal.
He
It has to
has
be
to
equal. Yep.
Hmm.
afford to
And they
give that
don't get that part.
everything equally. If you can't afford to give one a house and the other one a house, you should not
You
be
should not be
sticking
doing
your
that.
pee now and nothing else. But
And they do
So
that in Asian cultures.
so
Like it's still something that's
what
going
about the
on.
man? What about the man
huh?
that could afford it though? What about the man that
Then
could
go
afford it?
ahead, ask your first wife, is it all right to get another wife? I'm telling you, she gonna be with the shit. She
She
may or
might.
may not, but she
Not
will,
this
especially
one.
if you taking
Wait,
care of
She
so
may
you might
want you
not
in the
want to.
house
You
less
might not.
often. Look, you never
right
know.
that part.
She,
Never know.
she may be like, okay, why you think
Right
some
now,
There are
women
cultures where
be
they do
marrying
that.
these truck drivers? Because they only be home, they be over the road, they be at home, they ain't got to deal with it. So they
Like I
just
ain't gotta
may be
see
okay
him
with it. You
for two
never know.
months. I'm gonna get my little money. I'm gonna get my little weekend getaway or whatever. We're gonna get it busy. He gonna go about his business, get out my face. His feet stink anyway.
Mm.
Listen, that sounds personal, babe. Your feet do stink. And, and
He'd be like, roll it back, roll it back, roll it
But I
back.
will agree that
Your
is
feet
a
don't
very
stink, babe.
look,
unlikely.
hold on.
That's
You
an
ain't even with the truck
unlikely
driver.
scenario.
I could die.
I my stance on the polygamy relationship, I don't have no stance. Like it is what it is. It is what it ain't. They do what they want to do. Whatever.
Right. That's how I feel the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works for whoever it works for. Some
Right.
people make it work, some people don't. That's just what it is. Like if you're a type of person for monogamy, and if you're a type of person that
Right.
prefer polygamy, and then it is what it is. Just make sure that you're
All
handling yours.
right. And all it is honesty. As long as you honest, that's it. Other than that,
Exactly.
if you're
If you
being
gotta hide, then
deceitful,
you're not doing it
right,
right.
right.
That's
D
the
May,
part.
D May, tell me you agree with me on this.
It a face. It's the
Wait,
face for
what?
me. She like,
Tell me you agree with me on this.
What?
Agree with you?
Agree with
About
what?
what?
She like, what? Why would I do that?
poor
I
K.
didn't say that.
Oh man. MRT, you was gonna say something?
Well, I guess just my stance on the polygamy thing. I actually don't know too much about the history. So I was listening when Lady Fresh was speaking that it was mainly used in history times for like repopulation of their bloodline and keeping it pure. I'm actually unfamiliar with that, but my stance outside of that, I feel like it could be predominantly rooted in lust. People that just kind of want to have, like Ms. Dion was saying, you just want to clap some cheeks. You want to have options. All of these women are okay with it. And I just think that predominantly it's rooted in lust. We can even look at some scenarios in the Old Testament of how it was lustful, and a lot of times, or a couple times in the Old Testament, them having the multiple wives or just a woman in period was their downfall for their death. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm pretty sure there might be some type of logical fact if we pull up history and the bloodlines and stuff like that. But overall, what they're doing today for 100% fact is just for lust. I mean, people want to sleep.
And we don't need paperwork for that.
Of polygamy,
yeah, we don't need.
You look at the topic of polygamy, right? Polygamy was how things were naturally. Like monogamous relationships is fairly new, right? Really, it was kings and headships that were known to have more polygamous relationships, but poor people did as well because it brought more into the household. So us being monogamous was because we were taught, trained, and bred to be that way since we were young, right? So, I get what everyone is saying, but men have always been known to have multiple wives throughout history. And I don't necessarily agree.
But men have...
But the thing with that, though, is that in history, from many different aspects, women had no voice. You can't tell somebody no.
Right.
You can't tell this man, marry you, be your wife, do what? And then walk off and think that you're going to be
the daddy and just took you.
Yeah. So it was, women were bargained for. We didn't get a voice until much later in history after white people. So you got to even consider that too. So, I mean, I think history reflects that is because being a woman in historical times was not a good time to be a woman. You had no pull, period. And even if you was king or somebody's wife, the wrong move, you're done. So I think that's the only reason that we've had a strong history of that is because women didn't have no choice anyway. You either gonna do it or you just gonna die.
Yeah, that's
that
was. Go ahead.
No, so I agree with she made an amazing point. So I do agree with a lot of what she said. Women didn't have a voice. Women didn't have, so there was a lot of things that women had to endure that they wouldn't do it today if they had a voice back then. So with that also being said, though, just as we're trained to be monogamous now, it's just as it could have been the norm back then, where women had the expectations. Because even today, in some cultures, it's still the norm. Yeah. So polygamy is still what they do, and women have the choice and still would choose to say, "I'm okay with my husband having multiple wives." Most men will not say, "I'm okay with you having multiple husbands." But
that will never happen. I mean, we have a couple of things like that, but it's very few and far between. But I think the part that we're overlooking is not so much the existence of polygamy and its purposes, but how it's being utilized now in Western society. And the fact that you have a guy like Nick on Sister Wives who's sitting down talking about he gonna read books all day and y'all go out and go to work and I'm gonna teach the baby how to, I'm gonna read Cat in the Hat to the baby and teach him his, 1, 2, 3s. Like what? And then you got all these. I really don't want. I don't want to get cut up.
It's just the times are different. The times are different. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to even be out here multiple partnering it up because, I mean, think about it. And that is, like you said, it's very westernized. It's Western culture, marriage, monogamy, one person. Back in the day, or even today, I won't even say back in the day, it is still utilized in other countries heavy. But the United States has very high AIDS and HIV epidemics. They have a lot of STIs, like that is running rampant. Younger and younger kids are sexually active and doing crazy things. To make it okay for you to have multiple, it's just crazy for today. In my eyes, it's for today. If it was utilized the way that it was supposed to be utilized to build community, they say it's a community to raise a child, right? If you build that community within your home with that one man who provides for, say, his 3 wives, you have 3 women that can help raise these children. That's a freaking community. And if next door you got another man doing the same thing with his 4 wives and equally providing and taking care of each one of them, then you have that community. But like MRT said, it is very lust based today. It's all about the lust, and that's what makes it such a thing where people are turned off. And I think women are turned off from having a conversation like that, because the only thing in their mind is that it's going to be utilized for lustful reasons, because the husband's not going to bring to their wife that they want a polygamous relationship to build a community. That's not going to be what the conversation is.
But here's the thing with that, is like not the purpose of polygamy. I'm talking about even going more so into just having, I guess, maybe an open marriage. But I think a lot of men, this is just my thought, I'm not making it facts. I think some men, based on what I've seen in that space, like that particular show, it's like, I'm trying to legitimize why I want to go outside the marriage. Yeah. So I'm going to say I want to be a polygamist when all you really want is some new vajayjay.
Right.
You just want something fresh. You want something new. You want a different, you had the Frito-Lays, you had the sour cream and onion, now you want, the salt and pepper or the barbecue. Like, figure it out. Figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, just say that. But don't play in these women's faces and act like that's not what you want to do. But you want to legitimize it under the guise of, oh, well, we're going to be polygamous and we're going to build community and we going to do.
That sounds culty to me. That sounds culty to me. Whatever he got.
I mean, it'd be like that too. I mean, we got the, the LDS and all them out in the Utah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just talking about these people, because there's a lot of people just really doing it, like living in LA, living in Arizona, living in the Midwest, that are just like, okay, let's be polygamous. And let's try to make it a thing, even if there's no paperwork involved. But it's like, why don't you just be upfront? I guess that's basically where I'm leaving it at. Why are we not being upfront? Right. No cap.
I mean, men don't guys can't even be upfront like when you just then meeting them. So I got that question too. Most of them,
He said, "Cause we gonna say no."
You were.
And he said because we gonna say no, but
I think he gonna say no,
right? But you just might say no. You would, and then you work from there. Like sometimes the answer is no, but what if she say yes? Then what? What's your next? What would you say next? How are we gonna go about this?
This is the crazy
thing,
right?
We're gonna move on to the goal.
Not you though.
We gonna find us a polygamist. We gonna find us a polygamist.
Be careful.
Bring to the show.
So I've encountered.
Let's do it.
Right.
Say again.
I said I've encountered them. So this is the thing, right? The dating world, right? When a person is dating, they're dating multiple people at the same time.
More than
is
likely.
that true?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? Do you want him to exclusively date you, or do you want him to weigh his options?
It's a conversation that you have at some point. The whole point with all of this is the conversation has to be had. My thing is, if you make a commitment to a person to have and to hold, to cherish and to whatever, all of those vows, or even if you don't get married, if y'all make a commitment to be boyfriend and girlfriend, y'all say y'all exclusive, then it should be that until we have a conversation about it not being that. Whether it's I want to exit the relationship, you want to exit the relationship, or we want to bring someone else into the relationship. Like, it's all got to come down to there being a conversation. And I think even with what you're talking about, it still has to be a conversation. When you first start dating, I wasn't putting parameters on shit. Hell, I was still getting meals from, a couple suitors because that was my prerogative to do. But when that man came into my life that I felt like I wanted to be exclusive with, it was a conversation. And at some point, we became exclusive. I just think people take people's choices away and just run with it. And then when you be flabbergasted because they're doing X, Y, and Z, it's like, well, did y'all ever have a conversation about where this is going?
All I'm saying is you'll be surprised. I'm not saying you, but men can be surprised in the answers that they get if they actually ask the questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be transparent and see what happens. Just don't automatically assume it's going to be a no, because even deception by omission is still deception. A lie is still a lie. So if you going out and you're just like, well, you never asked me, and we never had the conversation that we was exclusive, or we never had the conversation that we're in a monogamous marriage, so I just figured it was on the table. I just didn't say nothing. Don't get punched in your face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just have a conversation and see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
But
It's very well that the man might be surprised at the answer that he gets, and then you can move on. That's all I'm saying.
I do want to move on from the topic, but I would. Hey,
Less 86 debt.
no, because I do want to. I do hear y'all, but I can't help but think about what y'all saying to what we go through, right? And I'm not saying me. I don't go through it, right? I'm going through it,
You
baby.
better not.
But but what other men out there saying, right? It doesn't even have to be as deep as that. It could just me bringing, hey, I have a new female friend, and I want to introduce you to her. Oh, who you talking to? I don't want you talking to no other women. Blah, 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 blah. It's an experience. So it makes it very hard for men to just be honest. I don't want to lose my whole wife because these are the thoughts that I have. Right? So it's almost like what y'all are saying is, okay, just talk to her, and maybe she said yes, maybe she says no, and I lose my whole family.
But
Right?
listen,
So
I think the part. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
hold on.
I'm sorry.
So you gotta factor in what we might feel and go through with the emotions of y'all, depending on the information that we bring to y'all. Because a lot of it could just be honesty, but what happens if I lose everything because I was honest?
But you're gonna
So
lose
I want to
if you
touch
just
on that.
do it. If you just do it, you're gonna lose it anyway.
Right. But
So what if I don't do it, but I'm not happy?
No. Here's the part of it that I want to touch on is the fact that you talking about relationships, right? We're not talking about that. That's the part that a woman is never going to be okay with. No woman wants her man catching feelings for another female in any capacity. Okay? Let's just put it there. So when you say friend, what do you look at as a friend? That's a confidant. That's somebody you vibing with. You have the inside jokes. Key. No. Now, if you want to and just move on, don't be on the phone, whatever. There's some women that's like, look at Monique. She called her man daddy, and Mr. Sidney be outside and do what he want to do, and she do what she want to do, but they know home is home. Don't play in my face. Don't have these women calling my phone. These men ain't gonna call your phone, whatever, because there's that understanding. So I think that's the part of it that is not being understood. Like, we're all, just generally speaking, we're carnal people. We have lusts, we have desires. So nobody can take that away. But when you sit down and you're like, okay, well, this is my friend, and I'm, and we kick it, and we be talking. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what Abraham did. Hagar was acting stupid with Sarah, and that's why she had to beat her feet with her raggedy baby. She was acting stupid.
Yeah,
she had to go.
I want to what GMT was saying.
That baby's always going to be raggedy. Ishmael raggedy.
Hold on, babe. Hold on. MRT. What you saying?
I wanted to comment on what you were saying. You were saying, like, but what if you don't do it, but you're not happy? That would kind of go back to communication. Because understandable, men are physical creatures and they like to visualize and whatnot. I still think that would just go back to whatever conversation, and y'all have to figure out a way to spice that up. Y'all got to get into some stuff probably that you ain't ever really been into. Y'all might have to, you have to learn to explore each other in a different way. So not saying anything because you don't want to lose it, but then not saying anything at all. And now you're locked inside holding this within you and you're unhappy. So a man's happiness in a marriage, in my opinion, is just as valuable and just as needed as the wife being happy. So y'all have to learn how to compromise in that manner. Put on a different wig. Babe, let's role play. Let's get some ropes. Let's get some handcuffs. Whatever it is that y'all want to explore, I bet y'all will have a blast.
Yeah, it's
But
so
isn't that the argument that they have against women, as in like when they leave because they're not happy? So if a man is not happy and we're trying to encourage the whole family thing, we got to find a way to work this out and figure it out so it's not a whole stepping out, leaving, whatever, because we're not happy. Happiness is a up and down thing. Sometimes you can be happy, sometimes you cannot. We figure it out and make it work. Isn't that how it is? Because I mean, in a sense, when you use that argument, that's like why when a lot of women get that knockdown for leaving a marriage for not being happy.
Yeah,
but we won't leave. We just won't be happy.
You
But
had
that's
that
the
on your
thing.
episode.
You would see. Hold on, babe. Hold on. You would see a lot of men won't leave. They just won't be happy. That's why men don't leave relationships as often. We'll just be miserable. We'll be in the corner. We'll sit in the car for 5 hours and won't come inside. And we'll do that for years. Men do that, but we don't leave.
It's crazy to me, though.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I don't know. Maybe I just ain't been married long enough.
Where does discipline come into the conversation?
What's that? What does discipline have to do with it?
As in to say, like, if you decide to commit to someone, yes, there's going to be, like, if we all went on impulse and what we wanted to do, we'll all be around doing anything half the time. But a lot of times we stay into the whole realm of where we are with discipline. So if you want to, like, most men, they may be free with, if they got the okay to sleep with every and anybody if it was okay. But the whole point of when they choose to be in a monogamous relationship, discipline comes into play and self-control.
I mean, I'm not taking away with it. That's why I do think you need to know the man that you're with. But it doesn't necessarily mean discipline is you can have the urge to do something and not act on it, right? So that's considered discipline. So just because I'm looking at other women, or I may be lusting other women, or I may be wanting, doesn't mean I'm acting on it. So I'm disciplined. But it doesn't mean I'm happy if I could voice something to you and I feel like I can't talk to you because I might lose you. I might lose my kids. Now I'm fighting in court, and a half of everything I work for, or most of everything I work for, is gone. So we have to factor all of that in when we bring our thoughts to you. That's what I'm saying. So you can be as disciplined as you want, but it's a hard thing when you are a man with those type of feelings and just you want to be honest with your wife, but you really can't.